So I had a question about setting up the 11 rack into a separate interface, which is an option. I run mine as my interface, so my 11 rack is the interface that I use. So it's just USB'd in, and then this runs everything. If I need to use a mic, I just go here. I don't usually do a lot of channels for live stuff. Everything's kind of in my DAW. So that's the one way I do it. The other way you could do it is if you have a smaller interface. I have this this little M-Box, which a lot of people have this 2-channel type interface. That's what this is. You could run out the back of the 11 rack, out the main outputs, the XLRs, and you could run stereo into the 2 inputs. In my case, I'd have to actually have 2 different types of XLRs. I'd have to have a 1/4 inch on one of them, which I do have. So I could go stereo here and just run a stereo track. If you don't have that capability, or you don't have the cables, you could just run one. You could just do like a mono out of the right or left, and just do that. Or if you wanted to do like a DI signal, you could run a DI box and then go mono in one, and then out of your DI box into here to get a DI, so you could reamp if you wanted. I also had a question about using the output to amp that you see right here, and there's one in the back too. If you wanted to go that route, I wouldn't necessarily do that, but you could. You go out that 1/4 inch in, and there's some settings. If you hold down edit, that's going to be what affects the way that sounds. So you hold down edit, you find the option that says outputs to amp, you select, and then there's 2 options, output 1, output 2. The front one is output 1, the back one is output 2. So if you're using the front one, let's just say we'll just highlight that, and then there are some options here to scroll around through. We have rig input, we have amp input, we have amp output, we have rig output no cab. So these are the different options, and as far as what you're going to hear out of that output to amp thing, right? So I just leave it on rig input if I'm gonna run to if I want the exact sound, right, that I had set up. If I want to set it up through like a cab, like I have this Blackstar cab down here, I run it through this for live stuff, I'll actually flip it all the way over to rig out no cab. And what that does is it just gets rid of that cabinet. I don't need the simulation because I'm using a cabinet. And then I run that through my power amp out the amp. So that's what I use that for. I typically don't use it for recording. I will run XLR out from the main outs in the back. Now, if you're having trouble with getting that to sound correctly, then there are other ways to fix that, which that shouldn't be a problem. Actually, I don't think that is a problem. You might have trouble with rig input. If your rig input isn't set to guitar, you won't get any sound, because you can switch it to a few different things: reamp, mic, line, left, right, digitals. It's just choosing what is actually, which one it's using as the rig input. So sometimes when I reamp, I forget to switch back, and then when I go to play, there's no sound, so I have to go back in there, switch it back to rig input guitar. So this video will probably be broken up into multiple, but I hope that helps.